Welcome to this week's BTO talk on generative AI, digital transformation, and leadership. My name is Michael Alf, calling from Portugal and one of the founding partners of Beyond the Obvious, and we are working globally with companies, helping them with their transformation journey. I'm here with Rob. Let's start with you.
Yes, Michael, thank you. Rob Thurner here in London, working with a number of government clients and spending a lot of time at the moment in Saudi Arabia, just back and heading back out there next week, helping their teams and their partners with their digital transformation efforts. Big effort now on generative AI. Markus, over to you.
Hello, Markus Keiper, professor at NUS for marketing, but currently calling out of Dubai and the Middle East as well, where I have spent the last couple of weeks talking a lot about digital transformation, AI, GenAI, and how we can get it going. Let's get started with the news. And Michael, you actually would like to slow down on GenAI. Is it you or some fruit who wants to do that?
It's actually the first time I think that we're slowing down. Since we started this. By the way, if you want to ask questions, there's two options for you. There's this QR code which leads directly into the WhatsApp group. So join there and ask questions there, or separately, you can also comment, of course, on the LinkedIn stream, which we had last week, some good questions. So yeah, slowing down. Who's slowing down? Well, this famous fruit, Apple, announced some updates, new phone, and a new OS is coming out on Monday. As you might have seen, kind of the whole AI, the Siri, has slowed down because it wasn't as successful and as reliable as people were hoping for. So I think they are looking at the whole thing. There are actually interesting rumors around acquisitions they're going to do to strengthen that space and more. So they are actually taking probably a very reasonable step. We always share that in our work with our clients. If you are going into the customer, so the B2C environment, you have to be super, super careful because you can mess up a lot. If things get wrong, then they are getting really, really wrong, and you don't want that. So the level is almost higher than in the B2B, let's say, internal environment. There's, of course, other risks there, but from a risk and reputation perspective, it's very important. And I think Apple did that after this backslash. They're basically taking that step back, and they are only introducing some things. One is the really interesting one, the translation with the new version. So that's the old version. The latest ones, they can actually real-time translate in 4 or 5 languages initially. This is one of the obvious use cases for these AirPods and other things, but it's a very, very, very relevant one. So imagine you are in Riyadh and you can actually understand everything. It's great. Or I'm here in Portugal and really can understand everyone. Interestingly, as a final comment before I hand back to Markus, the functionality is not available in Europe. I'm not commenting that, GDPR and others, but it's not available in Europe. I think that's a topic for another conversation. So yes, Apple is slowing down a little bit in this space. I think reasonably slowing down. And with that, let's cover another interesting topic. I think, Markus, you want to get started?
Yeah. So last week we finished our conversation about how to implement generative AI and how teams work, etc., with a question about what leadership models will actually lead us in the future. And we started talking about the current and classic leadership model we have been experiencing over the last 50 years, maybe, is of course all around human beings, leading them, motivating them, getting high performance out of them, and giving them direction and vision, mission, all of these things. The future will look different because we will have agents or some AI involved, and people will actually get done a lot of work in their teams with agents, and teams will hopefully have some more time for other things. So the question is, what does this mean for leadership? And Rob, maybe I ask with you, does this mean, I start with you, does this mean that every leader in the future, in your opinion, has to be a Gen AI expert? Or do you see a hybrid model maybe where people are very much in tune with generative AI, but the classic leadership and human approach and maybe the generation of people who didn't grow up with Gen AI still, of course, has a big role to play in leadership? How do you see that?
Yeah, I think it's a really, really interesting one and very, very fast changing right now. So I think one of the big areas here is how we need to bring together both the experience and the seniority and the knowledge which older people in the organization have, which positions them very well to stick to the established strategy and the vision and make sure that that's communicated clearly to all of those implementing the strategy. And on the flip side, so that's top down. And on the flip side, think about the bottom up approach. Those coming into the business now will be far more tech literate and comfortable using Gen AI tools, and their input is critical. So we need to make sure that we are moving both top down, but also empowering and encouraging and giving ownership to those lower down in the organization to deliver their version of what the strategy looks like. And this is historically very difficult. We found that in certain parts of the world where for cultural reasons, it's expected that you follow instructions rather than come up with your own ideas, which may be disrespectful. We need to get that balance right. So that's the first point. The second point is explicitly, how do you manage people and how do you manage agents? We talked earlier about this agile approach where we want people to be working in a more fluid, collaborative way, bringing in experts from different divisions and giving them some freedom and autonomy. But on the other hand, where we're managing agents, as you'll know from your own prompting, we need to be far more prescriptive and clear, which challenges the thinking that agile is the right way to go with agents. And actually, we do need to be more directive. So as a leader, we need to have both sets of skills and understand context and the role that the human and the agent will be playing interchangeably as we're implementing. So this is rather complex. Michael, do you want to give your perspective, being very close and through the recent work, and congratulations, Michael, on your recent qualification that you picked up on the agent side? How do you see this playing out?
Yeah, thank you, Rob. I think you made some excellent points here. Yeah, so I think there's true gold, yeah, in these in these ideas and thoughts. And this is just the beginning. It's also just the beginning on our journey. Again, I think kind of we mentioned we're going to publish a book on this topic. Yeah, so stay close so that you get kind of be one of the first to be in here. So back to your question, and you made a very good point. Is agile the right thing or not? I think that's really hard to tell. And there will be situations where it might work or might not work. So you have the AI workflows, they're quite rigid. So therefore, they are not really leaning towards agile, except you break it down in such packages that are actually kind of they are part of the flow and you have an agile flow. Yeah, so even there you have different layers, yeah, to look at it. And then you have these autonomous agents, the orchestrators, for example, and they are, per definition, are flexible, much more flexible. So they are more agile. And I think this will be interesting to see how that works and if it works. Yeah, so I had an interesting conversation yesterday with someone, and he tried to explain me technically that it's all fine, it all works. It's not a problem creating boundaries and rules and so on. I said, maybe not, yeah, because this is a complete new field where we still experiment and learn as we go, and we will see things that are not working. And the problem, or one of the biggest challenges, is the more you automate, the less you see actually what's going on. Yeah, because you have less controls over things, and that of course makes complete systems much more vulnerable. And when we put that into the context of the overall situation in the world, that cyber threats and cybersecurity becomes more and more important, I think you have a completely different picture. Does that mean that you shouldn't go there? No, not at all. Yeah, it's like, well, have a good, solid conversation how to approach it and where to test it out. Markus, I mean, you are a cybersecurity expert as well, having done some work in this space. What are your thoughts on that?
Look, I think you both made excellent comments, and I would like to bring it back to the real world, the questions I get, and we all get throughout engagements we have around the world. The questions we get is, who should actually lead GenAI in an organization? Should it be IT, or should it be human resources, or should it be the CEO, or should it be the chief AI officer, or should it even be AI itself, Michael, who leads AI in an organization? We don't give you the answer today, because that will be in our book. But what we would like to share with you is that these are the thoughts you need to have in order to build the future engagement with your customers, your employees, with your stakeholders, and so on. It certainly will not be the IT department. Let's reveal that, because the technology is not the answer to leadership in the future. It will not be a technology-led leadership, right, guys? So the question is still, leadership is something human. AI will not give you the leadership of, dear Michael, I would like you to change your priorities from now on, and it will be this and this. I hope that won't happen, right? So the human aspect needs a blueprint for how the organization would look like. The technology is an enabler. It is never the end game, right? And actually put that in your organization with a younger generation which grows up with Gen AI, and a maybe more senior generation who needs guidance about how can I actually engage with customers in the future, how there will be data points. All of these conversations need to happen live amongst human beings. And what I believe is we will have more time for that, because agents will run a lot of typical day-to-day non-domain work. I think we can stop here in order to leave you with a thought about hybrid leadership. What could it be in the future? The good news is you don't have to change your leadership style tomorrow. The more interesting news is from next year onwards, how will your customers and your competition and your stakeholders actually request you to be both classic in terms of directive and engaging, and agentic and being super modern and fast and on low cost maybe. So with this, Rob, why don't you wrap it up before we all three will actually be in this region over the next couple of days. Funny enough, Rob, the lasting thought from this conversation.
Yeah, I think in three initials, WIP, this is work in progress. No one has the answer right now. We're getting feedback from clients and the different levels of seniority in the organization, all wrestling with this. Based on the feedback we're getting, we're mapping out a plan, a way of approaching this and thinking this through both individually and with your teams and with your organizations. And we're very keen to share this and get your feedback. So as we mentioned before, please jump on that QR code. Please do give us your thoughts in the LinkedIn. When you see it on the YouTube, we're getting some good traction on the YouTube now, and we look forward to getting your input and unpacking this together. In the meantime, have a great weekend. Thanks for joining us this week, and we will see you next time. Bye for now.
Bye for now.
Okay, guys. See you later.
See ya. Bye. Thanks.